good day. Thank you again for being with me on here. On today, can you let everybody know who is Kayla?
Hi. Well, my name is Kayla Fryer. I go by Kayla. I
Yes.
don't go by my full name, honestly, but my handles are Kayla Fryer,
That's what
actually.
I was wondering. Literally what you just said, like the handle, I was like, do I say her handle or do I just say her name? But I'm letting you do it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I would say my name is Kayla Fryer. I'm a visual artist focusing on painting, printmaking, and also drawing. Relief printmaking. You got to be very distinct here because there's different kinds of printmaking out here, but I do relief printmaking, carving of wood. Okay, that's what I do.
No, let them know.
Yes, so I have to be very specific with that. But I'm also an arts administrator. I recently got into that role. I'm super passionate about it. I love working with young people. I absolutely love working in my community and getting young people into the arts. So that is something I'm super passionate about. But most importantly, I'm a Christian, and all of my work that I do is to glorify God. Period. There's nothing that I do that isn't God bred, God inspired, and yeah, this is all
Let's give it over
what
to
God
him.
gives me. Yeah, and I just do as He wills me to do. Yeah, so that's a little bit of who I am.
Yes, okay. Before we dive a little deeper into that, like kind of I'm asking everyone, but I'm obviously interested in you. Like with everything going on, how are you keeping your soul prospering, whether it's through art or even just outside of art? Where are you like finding your pockets of joy?
Um, honestly, I find my joy being outside, and that's why I'm recording outside because I honestly, first of all, I love the summertime, right? I love summer. I love the spring. I love the fall because it's nice weather for me to be outside.
Yeah.
So when I go outside, I really get to, you know, be wrapped in nature and all its beauty and all of God's creation. Like just watch the trees or watch some birds or go by a lake. It's so serene. It's peaceful.
I'm
It's,
hearing the birds.
yeah, you hear the
Like it's
birds.
cute. Yes, it's cute. No, I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the nature really inspires me. It really brings a lot of joy to me. I went out on a hike on Sunday, and let me tell you, I had so much fun. I have to do it more. Like I have to. There's nothing that's going to stop me from not going on often because it was just so amazing.
Do
It
you
was just
usually go hiking, or was that kind of new?
well, no, that was new. I've actually never actually hiked before. Um,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, I work with young people, so we've done like
Okay.
scavengers through the land, like outside and things like that. But it was so different because literally I was climbing on rocks, and it was a little dangerous, but it was adventurous, and
Yeah.
we were able to see this humongous just river or lake or dam, whatever you want to call it. It's called
Body of water.
huh?
I said body of water, but
Yeah, body of water.
where was it at?
It was a body of water. It was Loch Raven Dam. So
Okay.
that area, and it was just so beautiful. And also because it's in Baltimore, I
Mm-hmm.
didn't expect to see something so beautiful. Like not like that Baltimore doesn't have beauty, but I'm so used to seeing the city part of Baltimore. Like
Mm-hmm.
literally, I'm so used to the city. I'm always in the city, out of the city, near the city.
Yeah.
But to find this amazing piece of land, oh, it
Mm-hmm.
inspired.
I've
It was,
never heard of it, and when you said Baltimore, I was like, oh, okay, because kind of what you said, the city. I'm
yeah.
looking it up because honestly, I need to get more like you. Or like, no, I've been seeing just everyone hiking, like, and I'm like, I want to go hiking. So I'm
We
literally
should
making.
go hiking.
Can
We've
we go?
talked about this. We've talked about this. We
No,
talked
we
about
did.
going hiking.
We talked about hiking, picnic. Girl,
Yes.
we need to do all of
We
this.
need girls' day. Okay, we need to plan our girls' day. We can go hiking and have a picnic by the trails or something.
Yeah, so and also just include whoever's watching this. If you're a girl out there, you know we
Yeah.
can save the dudes for later. But if you ever want to join, just hit us up because this is gonna be a thing. I thought about this the other day too, and I was like, so to hear you, I'm like, okay. But okay, before I get into my next question, you just mentioned that you were inspired by nature, but can you just expand on that inspiration? Like, are you inspired by it into your artwork, or is that usually just somewhere for you to like start brainstorming and getting inspired that way?
Well, that's a good question, actually, because I started painting nature. So my work has always been inspired by God's creation, right? So I would paint nature like it was nobody's business. I would
Mm-hmm.
literally, I wish I had some of my first paintings. Maybe I'll share that with
Yeah.
you. And they would always be just like a very small, minute part of
Mm-hmm.
nature, right? Just very small. And then I just blow it up and really look inside of it and look deeper
Yeah.
and really dissect this little tiny object and try to make it a little bigger than life. And I used to paint that. I painted like that for about 2 years.
Uh-huh.
And then um, I was challenged. I was challenged and a photo. I saw a photo of this guy. I don't know if it was on Instagram. I forgot where it was.
Mm-hmm.
It might have been on Instagram. It might have been on Pinterest. It might have been somewhere. I can't remember. But I was doing some research and I found this man, like this gaze.
Uh-huh.
And I just had to capture that. I
Yeah.
just had this strong desire. It was like, wow, that's amazing. And it was so crazy because he was behind a body of water.
Ah.
Body of water too, right?
Yes.
So to see his gaze locked in, that's actually one of the paintings that I have with me. Do you want me to show
Okay.
you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like,
So this is actually the painting that kind of started it all. So this was the gaze. And of course, during that time, I've never done figures.
mm-hmm.
I've never done figures. I've never done people.
Mm-hmm.
He was my first figure.
Yeah.
Uh, and I don't know, I just had this strong desire to paint it. And I really wanted that intensity, that look, that feeling that
It
I felt
definitely has the
saw
intensity.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I really wanted that. So yeah, so
When you
it
say
started with
water, sorry, I'm looking at it because like now to like I was looking at it earlier, and then now like to hear the story behind it, I'm like I definitely get water from the texture in the background too.
oh
Oh my
yeah.
gosh. That okay, so for everyone, because we're gonna go through multiple paintings, I'm sure. When would you say like you started painting figures and like humans like that painting?
I painted, when did I paint that? I think I painted that back in 2018. I
Okay.
started painting that in 2018.
So we
I
went
think
to
it was like spring 2018. I
mhm.
think this was my last painting of my semester of like my junior year.
Okay.
So this was like my last painting that I did. So he was my first at the moment.
Mhm.
And I really didn't know what I was doing. I had no idea. I've never studied form. I never studied the human anatomy. I never studied the body. I
Mhm.
never study any of that. But what I used to do is always watch people. I
Yeah.
used to watch all this. Well, I still do. I
Girl,
like
I'm a people's watcher.
yeah, I watch people all the time. So, and I always look at people's facial expressions. Like
Yeah.
I gauge people what they say by their expressions on their face. So I'm used to that. But I never actually worked on a figure. So I didn't really know what to do. I kind of like did like a rough sketch,
Uh-huh.
like really rough sketch. And then I just went in and began to just paint, like
Wow.
literally putting on color. Like I started with this paint. One thing I did do, I edited in Photoshop, right? Because I had the image, right? And I liked the intensity of the face from the original photo. But I
Mhm.
was like, it needs something more. And I didn't know what it really needed.
Uh-huh.
Um, until like I started editing it and playing around with it. And I was like, okay, these colors are funky. Like
Yeah.
they're like primary colors. I'm like, I like this. I really liked it, but they're not red and they're not
Mhm.
like a true, well, I guess it's true blue, but it wasn't red, it was pink.
Yeah.
So I kind of just like went there.
Mhm.
And when I went there, I really went there because I just started slapping paint on. If you really look close, I literally use a palette knife for this whole entire, I use a palette for that whole painting.
Ooh, okay,
Yeah.
so we've and this is everyone. So okay, real quick, so I let you introduce yourself. Everyone, me and Kayla actually started. It was my first art job. Like, was it your first art job?
Not necessarily. It was my second at a gallery.
At a gallery,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, it was
Yeah.
mine and her second, but we was just like, I mean, we're not old, but we were younger, right?
We were younger.
Like, oh, back in college, like during those days, even though it hasn't been that long ago, but we started we started at a gallery called Brentwood Arts Exchange in Brentwood, Maryland. Look it up. It's one of my favorite galleries in Maryland. Like every time I would post a picture of someone, everyone was like, "Where is this?" And I'm like, "It's right up the street. Just
Yeah.
go right there."
It's like a little hidden treasure in Hyattsville because
That's
a lot of people don't know about it.
It's literally what it is. So yeah, if you're ever in the neighborhood, Brentwood, Hyattsville, PG, go over there. They really have great artwork, and like it'll be by local artists, some not, but it's all. I love the curators, so I'm just like, okay. But anyway, I was gonna say, I know we had talks about like back in those days, and then hearing you now, like you used to do like more nature, and then so my question is like from when you started painting, also you can talk on like studio classes, how has like your art journey expanded, and even going into, so you were talking about color, how you look for these certain colors now, but even you talk about the palette knife, like how has your journey expanded within painting?
Wow. So, well, from when I started painting when I was really young, right? Like, but it wasn't, we don't want paintings flying. It wasn't necessary. See what I told you?
There we go.
I was ready for it. This is another painting. This is the start of a painting that's not complete.
Indeed. No, we're going to get to that painting.
We'll get to that. That's different too. But for the whole process, I started really young, but I didn't necessarily go about taking classes or anything. So even when going to university, I was really timid about it. I knew I was passionate about it. I went to community college. I painted there, and I was really, I was really, set on doing art, but I didn't know why. I didn't know if I was really good at it. I just really wanted to do it. I just had this desire to paint, and I always did. So going to University of Maryland, they started me at like the bottom. Even though I've taken previous classes, they started me at like the bottom. And I was fine with it. I was like, okay, whatever. They wanted to see if I can actually paint. Cool. And when they did see that I could actually paint, they actually bumped me up. They bumped me up to the next highest class for my junior year, which was amazing. And in that class, I really was still trying to find myself, right? They had us doing, again, basic kind of stuff. And they had us doing like still lifes and stuff. And I really didn't know where I was going at first until I found something that I liked. And I always go about what I see. Whatever I see is what really inspires me. Like my eye catches something and it's just here, and I have to get it out. So my one painting started when I was really beginning to like journey somewhere with first not using white anymore. I couldn't use white anymore. So I had to start painting without using white. And it was one of my pieces that I did. I think it was a magnolia plant, I think it's called. And they had like a seed. And I painted that seed, and I couldn't use white. And I think that kind of sparked something in me to really capture the purity of a color without diluting it. So that's kind of how I started, with just like pure color and just the way it is, and not diluting it, making it darker, but not whitening it or lightening it with white, right? So that's how I kind of started with that journey. But then moving over, I still was painting nature, but it was something that was missing in doing it. And another thing is, I got a lot of criticism. I
was wondering if you were going to talk on this.
No, yeah, seriously. I feel like I got a lot of criticism. And maybe people won't say it out of their own mouths, but for me personally, I feel like I got a lot of criticism being a Black artist, period. It was kind of like what I painted wasn't like a standard, or how I painted wasn't the standard. And
I was gonna say, what's weird, because I feel like I got the same thing. So when we used to talk, I'm glad you talked about this, because you would mention like the criticism you get. Me, I would get kind of the same vibes, but it was just quietness, and I'd be like, y'all got nothing to say. Like, But what's weird is that there's so many years of artists and movements and just different type of art where it's like it for me it was weird to go through that because I'm
Yeah.
like, but keep going.
Yeah, no, definitely. It was criticism from my professors and it was silence from the
Yeah.
students.
Mm-hmm.
It was criticism from the professors. I remember one of my professors said my work looked like graffiti and
Okay.
it belonged outside. And I didn't know what she
Yes,
meant by
I didn't know that one.
I didn't know what she meant by that. And
Yes.
I still have love for her, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't know what she meant by that. And it kind of was kind of like, what are you trying to say?
Yeah.
Because of because I'm doing work that is not the traditional way of doing
That's what I was
paint.
gonna say.
You see it as not gallery ready, like
Mm-hmm.
because my work to me is going to be gallery
Yeah.
ready, right? Because I want to be a gallery artist. And I have no pressure or no words against those who aspire to have work on murals outside of a
Yeah.
building or like painting beautiful murals in parks and
That's
outside
not
of
you.
schools. It
Yeah.
just wasn't what I designed for myself.
Mhm.
So to hear that was kind of like you're trying to put me in a box and put me in a category as
Yeah.
an artist. And I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. So it really got under my skin a while. And I kind of was like, well, what am I doing? Like, what do I want to say regardless? Because it also pushed me. It also pushed me to say I can do what you guys think I can't do, no matter what, because you're not about to stop me
Yeah.
and try to categorize me into
Yeah.
a and say, oh, you can't reach these heights. You're only limited to this. No, sweetheart, I can do both. But I'm gonna let you have it. I'm gonna let you
Uh-huh.
have it. So I experienced a lot of that, and that grew with my art because I really began to find out what I wanted to say and how I wanted to say it.
Yeah.
So then I started before I went back. So this was like I said, that painting I showed earlier. That was my first painting that I did ever like that, and those colors and all of that. And I kind of transitioned into a new realm. I began to try to please my professors, trying to paint
Yeah.
with, skin tones and figure out skin tones and figure out the form. I
Mm-hmm.
really tried to please them as best as I could, but I realized that wasn't what I wanted to do. So I
Yeah.
think I did 3 paintings trying to please them. And then I got to the point where I was like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
This is what I want to say with my work.
Mm-hmm.
And I began to just like, you know what, forget it. I'm going to just start over, try something new because I still wanted to paint Black bodies.
Right.
I still wanted to paint Black people, period.
Yes.
One thing I really wanted to do was showcase emotion through my work. I
Mm-hmm.
think that was the start of me saying, I want to express what I express through my work, through how I feel, because y'all heifers getting on my nerves. But it's okay. Y'all gonna see it through these paintings. I can't verbalize it, but it's okay. You can see it through these paintings. So then like I said, I normally get my imagery from Instagram. Like I have friends. I have this wonderful friend artist. Her name is Amber.
Okay.
I wish I remember her handle. I have to show you her handle. And she's an amazing photographer. I want to say shout out to her because she's such an amazing photographer in capturing Black people.
Yeah.
Like love and affection and romance and bodies. It's so beautiful. So one day I saw her on Instagram. She captured her cousins. And I was like, yo, I need that. Give me that. I wish I had the painting with me. It's downstairs. I wish I had it. But I was like, give me, huh?
If you have a picture of it, we'll show it in the.
Yeah, I have a picture of it. And I was like, give me that. And I was like, I have to do this. So I actually painted that in the dark. I don't think no one knows that, but that's a little secret. I did that painting in the dark, and it was supposed to just be underlayering. It was just originally supposed to be just like the underground work of an oil painting, right? But it was all in acrylic. And I only had at the time 2 colors, which was pink, which was sienna, blue, and then it was magenta. And then I had white and like black. So it's kind of like, dang, that's all I got. So I was like, I have to do the painting. So let me do this work.
Yeah.
Do what it do, whatever. So I just started working it. And I think I finished it within like an hour or 2 or something. Because I just was going for it. I didn't even think about it. So once I was done, I was like, okay, this is cool. I brought it back to school. And my professor was like, wait, you got something here. I was like, oh, I do. first I was like, yeah, I like it the way it is, but I mean, I know I need to, build it up more. She's like, no, I think you have something with this. So I kind of like went off of that because I was like, I do like it. So I was like, let me go off of that. So then the rest of my paintings started to follow it. So that's Boy Blue, and then I did Girl. Okay. And Girl, I kind of pushed her because I didn't know the limitations of what I could do. So she got a lot of the beatings of how I was feeling. And her expression shows my emotion through that whole semester. Literally, that's the picture for you for her. She got to show my expressions through the whole semester because I still was getting, a whole bunch of nonsense. I still was getting silence. I still was getting, I don't know what you're trying to say, or what is this? Or, silence. Like, but I was like, I'm gonna keep going. And after that, I kind of just decided to do like my family. So I did like this series of my niece and then my brother. And I was like, okay, so what do I want to really say? Like, what do I want to get to, right? And then I kind of was so stuck of when I saw the emotions of Black men. Because I was like, Black men don't show their emotions. Yeah. They're very like tight grip. You know what I mean? And I was just like, I have brothers and I have cousins, and I know the heart of them, but they put on this hard shell. Yes. Like, I know there's something deeper in there. And you guys are trying to be so strong all the time that you don't even allow yourself to express how you feel a lot of times. And I want you to know it's okay. I want you to know that I see you, I feel you, even as a Black woman. I'm not a male, but as a Black woman, I see you, I feel you, and I understand. Right. I understand. And I wanted that to be shown to the world. I was like, I want everyone to know it. And I want everyone to see it. I want everyone to know that our feelings as Black people matter. Our emotions matter. What we think matters. What we say matters. We matter, period. So I really began to just express that through my work. And I started doing this series of just doing Black figures. So the piece that I did, which was all God bred, because I had like a dream. And I was like, I don't know what I was going to do next. I had a dream, and I kind of prayed about it. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing next, God. What should I do? And then she showed me how I should paint this painting of John. And I painted it, and I was like, yo, this is exactly what I'm supposed to do, like literally to the T. So with that, it just gave further confirmation. And then that was in the show that I was in at the Creative Alliance.
So wait, pause. I thought I caught on to the name. You said John? Yeah, so okay, so I have this one up, and I'll show it to them. But like I'm gonna let you continue on that. But this was one I wanted to just like highlight because I don't know if it was your first one sold, but
you're right.
Yes, okay. I do pay attention. I see you. Is your first one sold? So I want you to talk about just like the experience of selling a piece, especially like now. At that point, you were like finally painting what you wanted to express. So just that aspect, but then I guess the story behind it. Cause I just saw it was your first one, and you didn't think like you didn't paint it thinking it would get sold. So
no, not at all. So with that piece, I have a lot of, I don't want to say I have a lot of male friends. I know some guys. Okay, I'll say that. I know some guys. And I normally, like, when I hang out with them, I'm normally like taking pictures of them because I'm like, you're inspiration for me. So whatever you do, I'm just gonna start snapping. Just start snapping them at any moment. And I was hanging out with John one day, and I was like, hey, I need inspiration. Sit down here. Let me take a picture of you. So he was just like, okay, and he wasn't really doing anything. He just was kind of sitting there. So I was just taking a whole bunch of pictures, and then I think he was like asking me a question. Okay. And then he made this expression. I was like, oh my goodness,
I need that.
I need that. That is it. I need that. And it was kind of like soul. I was like, yeah, I need that. That's exactly what it is. And I really, what I've learned is that when I was doing that piece, again, I didn't expect it to sell. I didn't expect anything to come out of it, honestly. None of my pieces, I expect anything to come out of them. I do them because I need to get it out. I do them because I want to. And when I have pressure to do something, I end up just not doing it, period. Because it's kind of like, it's not coming from a natural place. It's not coming from a place of understanding what I'm doing, of loving what I'm doing, enjoying it. It's just coming out of work. And I realize if I'm just doing work, I'm not enjoying what I'm doing. I'm not able to express what I desire to express. And I know for some people that's like, oh, that's not discipline. But with this, I knew I had to tap into a different part of me, allowing me, even as a Black woman, to be vulnerable and allowing these emotions that I'm expressing for me to feel it too. And if I'm not feeling it while I'm painting it, there's no point in me doing it.
I'm just sitting here with snaps.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was kind of like that was the idea. So I was just in the studio and I just was painting and I just was looking at the emotion. I was just painting. And again, I wasn't using white at the time. I wasn't using white still. And I kind of treated it like it was watercolor because I also have a watercolor background. I dabble a lot in watercolor. So I treated a lot of it like it was watercolor. And it was just a lot of glazing, a lot of deep pigments. I mixed some colors like around the eyes to really deepen the gaze because I really wanted you to feel how he is feeling. And I really wanted you to see that instantly without question.
Yeah, no, as soon as you said, when you were describing how like males that have a wall up or just like they don't really show emotion, and we started talking about this piece, I was like, like, of course you captured the emotion, but I was like, he kind of looks like he's posing. So as soon as you said he was in the middle of asking you a question, it clicked. I'm like, yes, he's giving that kind of like curious, like he's really just kind of like, what's up type of. So, okay, yeah, keep going. But like this piece definitely does that. And I feel like I want to know more. Yeah, I want you to keep going because I want to know more of like how you were able to capture that as a painter. But even just hearing you talking about you captured him in the middle of asking a question. You truly captured that like essence without. I'm not sitting here thinking he's asking a question, but you know how people faces are. It's like, huh? It's like, like.
Yeah, I think he said, huh. I literally think he said, huh, or something like that. I don't remember exactly. I just remember having a conversation, and he just was just like over it. He was over me at that point, but he was a good sport all the way through it. So with that, I kind of, I really just, I wanted to capture the expression. And I think also the white shirt, right? So a lot of the pieces that I've done had white shirts.
Okay.
And that came from me doing my first painting of Boy Blue. He had a white shirt, right? And then that came from Girl. She had a white shirt. And then John had a white shirt. And then Terrell has a white shirt. You haven't seen Terrell yet.
Okay.
Terrell's downstairs. He had a white shirt in both of his paintings. And I want to say this, but I'm kind of like, I'm still trying to dilute. I'm not dilute. I'm still trying to get to a place of how I can capture what I also want to say. I know I talk to someone, I'm like, I don't want necessarily want my paintings to have many meanings. I want them to have a solidified meaning and understanding. You know what I mean? So the white shirts to me is kind of like a caveat. I don't know. Would I say it's a caveat? Not really. I would say it's like, it's a pattern that I do. And I'm going to just keep it.
I'm like, it's symbolic.
Huh?
It's symbolic for
yes, it's symbolic. Something. Yes, it's symbolic for something. And I'll go deep into that at some point. I'll go do this at some point. But so with that, I kind of, like I said, I really wanted to capture the emotion, to capture the person. Like a lot of times I feel like when people, well, one of the things also was I didn't want people to see the figures I painted as just objects. I know we're told in art school or like going to school, like, oh, when you're painting, it's still like a figure. You're just seeing it as a body. You don't really look into the soul of the person. It's just an object. So like you see boobs, you see a penis. Like, oh, don't look at it sexually or anything like that. Yeah, agree with that. But I don't want to paint people and just look at them and say, oh, this is just a pretty painting of a figure. I want you to know this is a person. This is a real, living, breathing person. And they have feelings and they have emotions too. So I really try to say that.
With your art style now in like 2020 work, are you still painting? Are you painting a mixture of boys and girls? Or are you like leaning towards still just getting at only like men? But it don't even have to be just a subject matter. Like what's your 2020 actually post-corona. So I don't
Post-corona.
know
That's
where
a
you
good
were in January,
question.
but like where are you at now? It's like where you want to go, I guess.
No, that's a good question. I have so many paintings lined up that I haven't
Yeah.
got out. It's like I have so many pictures that I still have to do.
Uh-huh.
That I still have to breathe out. I'm
Okay, so
still,
you still wait right there. Are you still doing like people you know, like your close circles?
yeah. I mean, not necessarily my closest, but people I know.
Okay.
I realized that, and also because of Corona, I hadn't been able to go out and see
Yes.
people. You know,
Yeah.
I had before Corona, I had planned to take pictures of my friends, and we had it on the schedule. But because of Corona, that kind of got shut down.
Yeah.
So I actually been inspired by their Instagram. So there are a couple people that I've literally just gone to their Instagram, and I'm like, I need this photo of you.
Yeah.
I need this photo of you. I'm gonna take it, right? So that's what I've been doing lately. Just reaching out to the people that I know, and yeah, they're all people that I know, or a photographer that I know.
That you
right?
know.
I try to keep it that way for a reason because I don't want any discrepancies. I don't want any. I don't want no lawsuits out here. So I don't know lawsuits out here. So I try to I keep it in my friend zone, but also because it's more personal when you keep it in your friend zone too. Because it's not, like I said, it's not just about capturing the emotion anymore. Because at first, that's what I wanted to do. At first, like with boy blue, with girl, I really just wanted to capture the emotion because I was feeling so much during that period of, like, at that time. I just needed to express it. I needed to get it out for me. But I realized I'm not even doing this for just me anymore.
Yeah.
This is about the people that I'm painting now. This is about them. This is about how can I allow others to see that they are human. Especially during this time. When this whole thing came about, man, when I found out about Mount Aubrey, George Floyd, and Breonna Taylor, and now Elijah Cummings, I looked at my paintings around my room at the time because they were just out because I was just trying to figure out what I was going with them. And I literally talked to myself, well, to God too, because I'm talking to the Lord. And I had to say, you matter. Each one of you. Each and every single one of you matter. And I know them. I know them personally. If I were to find out that something like that happens to them, man.
Yeah.
Man. You know what I mean? I'm like, you matter.
Yeah.
And because of that, I'm using my voice as an artist to just capture that as best as I can. I want people that look like us. I want Black people to know that they matter and that I see them and that I want to capture you and all your beautifulness, all of your emotions, all of your fierceness.
Yes.
I want to capture that, whether you're vulnerable and open, whether you're still kind of angry and upset and enraged, whatever that emotion is. I want to allow people to feel that. You should feel that.
Yeah.
You need to. You are human enough to, right? So that's what I'm learning now. That it's not about me anymore, but it's about them. And I think that's why I'm taking it such a different route and so serious at a point, because I'm realizing it's deeper than I ever thought it would be.
Yeah.
It's at first I was just painting, but now I'm now I guess I'm trying to give a voice to people who are voiceless at the time.
I was just about to say there's like always been expression and like a message, but especially that it's timely. Like the message it's here, it's surfaced. It's like what you said. You're giving a voice to people, and obviously, with everything going on, we in some spaces, in some areas, we don't have voices. So you as an artist, like, thank you for providing that. And just to relate, I just relate to you so much. So I don't even need to say anything. Just everything you're saying, I'm like, retweet.
For doing everything that I do. Literally, that painting of John being sold was only glory to God.
Yeah.
And that was him showing me, Kayla, I put you here for a reason. I gave you this gift for a reason. And I'm going to show you that it's going to bless you. And I had to believe in that. And I literally now I'm like, okay, I'm on fire now. Now it's nothing stopping me. But at the same time, I wanted to also be grounded to say that wherever my work takes me, I'll be happy with it.
Yeah.
Right? Wherever it takes me. Because at the end of the day, if I don't make it the National Portrait Gallery, if I don't make it in the BMA, if I don't make it in the MoMA, let's say, right, the Met, I don't make it there. but I still get to paint these beautiful paintings of people of color, of Black people, of Black voices. You know, if I still get to, you know, one thing I definitely desire more than anything outside of me creating my own work is for me to give a space for other artists. So I desire with everything in me to have my own art gallery. That is like a 5-year goal at this point. That's my 5-year goal, to have my own art gallery. I truly desire to have it. It's so funny you mentioned Brentwood, because Brentwood was kind of like my standard of how I want my gallery to run. Like, how it's like community based, but fine art is all throughout it. But it's still a community space. That is what I want. That is something that has never, I've had that vision for myself since I think I was in like 7th grade. And it has not left me. I want my own art gallery. I want to have my own art gallery.
Crazy. Y'all, since I've met Kayla, I feel like we've been on the same here. And you mentioning Brentwood, that's why I'm like, guys, if you're able to check Brentwood out, it is like
yes, check Brentwood out. I'm disappointed.
It is very, just everything you just hit on is community based, but it's fine art all the way through it. And hearing you talk about art and then talking about being motivated to, you know, be there for the youth and arts and stuff like that, I was just sitting here, I was just like, were you in programs or anything?
I wasn't. I actually wasn't. No, I didn't have any training. No. I wish I did. Actually, it wasn't even that I wish I did as a kid. I just kind of, how I got into painting, the little story about me as a little kid. Like, I was young. I don't know how old I was. I was in elementary school, so I could have been like 6, 7, 8, I don't know. And my grandmother, I always tell this story because this is kind of how it started. My grandmother used to always buy stuff on QVC. Let me tell you, this woman, when QVC was out, she would buy everything. She would buy everything you could find. We had literally, she was like a hoarder. I love you, Grandma. I love you. You're not going to see this video, but I absolutely love you. I love you to death. You're my heart. I really do.
Like, you would see those like 1995, 1999 kits on there and ask for it?
No, I didn't ask for it. Let me tell you. She would just buy stuff. So she would buy stuff. And we had like this, like, don't you know, back in the day, they had like the wall that had the TV inside of it.
Yeah.
And you had all those other like drawers. I don't know what they're called. Like that cute thing that they do now.
My Nana had one of those.
Yeah, like those things. So my grandmother, she had a whole bunch of this stuff.
No. Oh my goodness.
This is killing me. You guys. I need you to behave or I'm going to have to move you. Look at this.
Literally just seeing, like, I do see the emotion on their faces and then them keep moving. I'm just like, yeah, they're coming to life. The winner.
Sit still. Be brave. Brave through this.
Yes. We're almost done.
We're almost done here. So with so the whole QVC thing. So I was a curious child. So I would go through and rummage through her stuff, right? So I went through the stuff of her stuff and everything, and I found this kit, right? It was a whole kit. It had like a tape recorder, like the VHS.
Yeah.
VHS. And I would pop that in, and you know, Bob Ross just popped up.
I was wondering if that's.
I had my paint sets laid out. I saw what he would have. I went and I grabbed water and some napkins, and I found some paper, and I just started trying to follow Bob Ross. I would just paint with him, and that was like my routine at some point. I just would paint with him. I would watch him. It had like different tapes, so I would go to the different tapes, and I would just paint with him. And that's like my earliest. And I remember when I was in like 2nd grade, they had like this painting easel at school, and my teacher was like, "Hey, it's recess time." Or like during free time, I would straight to the easel. That was my easel. No one could touch that. That was my easel. But even like during recess, everyone wanted to go outside. I asked my teacher if I could stay in just to paint. Like, I just wanted to paint. I don't know. And it's so crazy because I only noticed this as I grew up. Like college, we had to write about ourselves and stuff like that as an artist. I really didn't know how I started. But now as I think about it, that was kind of my starting place. And that's not like your average. You know, most people, they probably go to school, or their parents put them in camps or
Yeah. I was
activities like.
gonna say it's
But no,
funny, like,
I,
okay. So kind of how like you got back to your subject matter, like black bodies, figures, but then also like obviously using color. But just like for me, I feel like it was a feeling of always knowing whatever art I'm doing, the subject matter is black, but like I didn't really try to, I don't want to be the black woman that only talks about black people. But no, yes, that's the thing. That's the thing
that's
about
the
it.
thing. That's the thing. It's a thing. You know, we talked
Yes,
about this. We've had this
yes.
conversation before.
And yo, I'm gonna just put us all on, like, I'm gonna put so many black women on the same call. I'm artists, and I'm pretty sure we all are about to say the same thing, 10 different ways. But it's something, right?
Because even so later on, when I got to like middle school
Mhm.
and high school, I didn't necessarily do it anymore.
Mhm.
I just didn't do it anymore. And
Yeah.
it because there was really no opportunity for me to do it.
Yeah.
Right? There wasn't like any classes in my middle school. They didn't have an art class. They had like piano, right? So I
Mhm.
took piano because I love music and I always wanted
Right.
to learn how to play. So I took piano class, right?
Uh-huh.
And then when I went to high school, they had an art. Well, they didn't have an art class. They had a fashion class. So I
Oh.
took fashion,
Mhm.
and then I transferred to a different high school in a white community,
Uh-huh.
and they had a whole art department.
Yeah.
They had photography. They had developing, like literally like the old school development photography in
That
the
was okay.
school. They had AP art classes. They had
Uh-huh.
like ceramics. They had a whole bunch of stuff
Yeah.
I never even saw. I didn't even know about it.
Girl, you got there and you was like,
And I was like, this is what you guys get? I was like, and that's a whole different conversation, right? From what I just said, right?
yes,
As an adult, I know that's a whole different conversation as to why I barely had an art class in my black neighborhood. But when I go to the white neighborhood,
they have
they
the
are
whole.
privileged to like a vast amount of art.
Mhm.
So it's kind of like with that, I was like on track to it. But even when I was I got into the AP art class, right? Because I was like, I'm doing this for real.
Yeah.
I felt like I didn't even belong because I felt
Yeah.
so far behind. There
Mhm.
were people in my class that weren't a person of color that were so advanced.
Yeah.
They even the summer before they went away to a college to take college courses.
Yeah. Mhm.
Like they were able to get all this experience.
Mhm.
And I'm like, I'm just starting out.
You're
I
sitting
don't even
there
know
like.
how to do figure yet. I'm still learning how to mix at
Uh-huh.
this point. I'm still learning what actually I want to draw at this point.
Mhm.
If I could show you my AP final, it was a mess. It was a mess. It was a mess in so many different ways. Not only was I experiencing something really traumatic my senior year of high school, but I also still didn't know what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I did a painting. It was like a self-portrait of myself. I still have that self-portrait, mind you. Will I show it to you? I probably won't.
We'll see.
We'll
She
see.
said.
We'll see. I probably won't, but we'll see. I look at it, and it was so interesting because my professor, he was a white professor, but he wasn't degrading of me. He would just always push me to do more.
Okay.
He would constantly push me to do more. And I won't forget his words. He said, Kayla, if you continue doing your art, you can be a great artist. And I was like, really? I never heard that before.
Yeah.
This was the first person who ever said anything like this to me ever in my life. And I'm this young 17-year-old trying to figure out life, going through a whole bunch of family stuff too. And I just really didn't know what to do. I didn't even know if I was going to go to college after high school. I didn't think of college. College was an option for me. Until my friends at the time, they were like, oh, we're applying to community college. Why don't you apply? I was like, yeah, I'm good. But they were like, no, we're applying. Come on, just come with us then. So I went and I ended up applying. I ended up focusing on just taking straight art classes. But let me tell you, I fell in love. I just fell in love with it. And I knew this is what I have to do because I love this. Like literally, there's no one can tell me that I don't love this because I love it that much. Like to be in the place, to walk to the building, to say, hey, I'm going to the art department, to say, hey, I'm painting today in art, to say I'm mixing something and I'm collaging something together in my design class. You know, it was something in me that was like, I have to do this. And then that voice again told me, Kayla, if you continue, you will be great at this. So it's kind of like, I have to do this.
Yes.
I have to. And it brings me so much joy. And then God just made it even more better. He just made it like, once I got saved, it was like, yo, this is like, this makes sense. Because before I was still like lost, right? But when I got saved, it all just clicked. It all just, everything just, it made sense as to why I wanted to do what I wanted to do. It made everything like pieced together with like all my past and all my emotions, all of my own feelings that I used to hide and bury and put on a mask for. I was able to now express that through my art. I was able now to give voices to people. I was able to now to help people, young people in the arts, right? If any of you watching this have not, you know, you're trying to find yourself, you're trying to find your way, you're feeling like you don't know where you're going, or even if you do know where you're going, God knows exactly where you should be. And he is calling you, and he loves you, and he wants a relationship with you. So honestly, if you've ever had any doubts or worries or concerns about who God is or what is this purpose of life, he has the answers. He really does. And I just pray that whoever is reading that and they need God, he's there for them. If you just call out to him, and he'll answer.
Just like you're showing Black boys, it's okay to be emotional. For anyone looking, she's letting you know. We're letting you know. God is there. It's so true. It's so true. And I feel like some people get caught up like, I'm not religious. For me, I grew up religious. And then in college, I went through some stuff and I stepped back and I grew my relationship with him. So like literally what Kayla's just saying, God is there. You don't have to go to church. You don't have to do like, just start by talking to him, pray to him, like talk. Cause I feel like people get caught up and it's not even about that.